One day, a son asked his father, "Father, what is my life worth?" His father gave him a stone and said, "My son, if you want to know the value of your life, take this stone and go to the market. If someone asks you for the price, stay quiet and hold up 2 fingers." The boy followed his father's instructions and went to the market. After some time, an old woman approached him and asked, "How much is this stone worth?" The boy remained silent and raised 2 fingers. The woman said, $2, and tried to pay. Startled, the boy ran to his father and shared the incident, expressing that an old woman in the market offered $2 for the stone. The father replied, "Son, now I want you to go to the museum. If someone asks for the price, stay quiet and hold up 2 fingers." The son took the stone to the museum. After about 20 minutes, a middle-aged man in a suit and tie approached the boy and asked, "Sir, how much is this stone worth?" Once again, the boy remained silent and held up 2 fingers. The man said, $200. I will pay for it." Fearful, the boy rushed home to his father, informing him that the man at the museum wanted to buy the stone for $200. The father then instructed his son to go to a stone market. Excitedly, the son ran to the market, found a stone shop, and walked in. An old man stood behind the counter. When he saw the stone, he jumped up and exclaimed, "My God, I have been looking for this stone all my life. What do you want for it? How much does it cost?" The boy wordlessly held up 2 fingers. The old man offered $20,000 for the stone, leaving the boy in disbelief. He hurriedly returned to his father, exclaiming, "Dad, the old man offered me $20,000 for the stone." With a smile, the father replied, "Look, son, someone who knows the value of a stone has offered you the highest amount because he recognizes its true worth. The same applies to your life. You determine its value. You can choose to be a $2 rock or a $20,000 rock. You hold the power to decide the worth of your own life. Remember, there are loved ones for whom you mean everything, and there are others who may treat you as a commodity, not realizing your true value." And that's the powerful story of the stone's value and the lesson it teaches about the worth of our lives. Remember, it is up to us to determine our own value and surround ourselves with those who recognize and appreciate it. Don't let others define your worth. Take charge and embrace the true potential within you.
Once, in a village, there lived a father and a son. Every night before going to bed, the father used to tell interesting stories to his son. One day, the father told him, "Son, God is omnipresent. He can see everything everywhere. Nothing is hidden from him." The son asked, "Father, you say God is present everywhere, but I am not able to see him anywhere." The father replied, "Son, we can't see God, but he is everywhere and can see everyone and everything they do." Months passed by, and a severe famine happened in the village. Due to this, the father's fields were rendered barren, and he had nothing to sell in the market. So he decided to go to his neighbor's farm and steal. When the father went out to steal, he took his son along with him and entered his neighbor's field. He instructed his son to sit on a branch of a tree to keep watch and signal if he saw someone coming towards the farm. Now, as soon as the father sat there to gather the crop, his son called him and said, "Hold on, father." The father questioned, "But why? Do you see someone coming here?" The son replied, "Yes, someone is watching us." The father got up from there and looked around, but he found no one there. Then he asked his son, "Who is watching us? I see no one." The son replied, "Father, you told me that God is present everywhere. He watches everyone and their deeds very closely. Then how will he not see you stealing from your neighbor's farm?" Hearing this, the father felt ashamed and dropped his idea of stealing and went back home with a lesson he learned from his innocent son. Lesson of the story: We should always act with honesty and integrity, knowing that God sees everything we do. We should also set a good example for our children by following the same principles we teach them. We should resist the urge to join in any wrongdoing, even if it seems profitable or easy. Instead, we should trust that God will reward us for our righteousness. Once in a city lived a poor tailor in a small house with his only son. He had a dream that his son should study well and get a good job. So, he decided to get his son the best education, no matter what their current situation is. Father worked day and night to earn money for his son's education. His son studied diligently. After years, Father's dream came true, and his son was selected as head of a big company in the city. One day, the father decided to visit his son's office. When the father came to see his son in the office, he saw that his son was sitting in his luxurious chair, in his big and luxurious office. As soon as the son saw his father, he was very happy and stood up from his chair and welcomed him. Father smiled and made his son sit on a chair and stood behind his son, placing his hands on his shoulder and said, "Son, what do you think? Who would be feeling like the most powerful man right now?" Before the father could speak any further, the son said, "Father, I feel like I am the most powerful person." Father thought that son would call him most powerful, but was very disappointed by son's answer. He replied, "Right, son," and was about to leave office. But before leaving, the father turned back and asked the same question to his son. "Do you still think that you are the most powerful person?" Son replied, "No, father. If anyone is the most powerful person, it is you." "But just now you said that you feel like you are the most powerful," father asked. Son smiled and replied, "Yes, I said that, because at that time, the hands of the most powerful person in the world were on my shoulders. So at that time, I felt myself to be the most powerful." Hearing this, the father had tears in his eyes and hugged his son. Lesson of the story is, it is the blessings of our parents that can make us the most powerful person in the world. Once in a village, a wealthy man was very worried because of bad habits. He tried every way to make his son understand and leave bad habits, but to no avail. One day, a wealthy man got to know that a saint had come to their village. Man went to the saint and requested him to help his son to get rid of his bad habits. Saint agreed and asked him to bring his son the next morning. Next morning, a wealthy man came to the saint with his son. Saint took a young man with him for a stroll through the garden. While walking, the saint stopped suddenly and pointed toward a tiny plant growing there and said to the young man, "Pull it out." Young man held a plant between his thumb and forefinger and pulled it out. After this, Saint continued to walk with the young man. After walking a little, he stopped again and pointed toward a slightly bigger plant and said, "Pull it out." Young man grabbed that plant and pulled hard, and it came out with its roots and all. "Now, pull that one," said the saint, pointing toward a bush. Young man used all his strength to pull that out. "Now, pull this one out," said the saint, pointing toward a guava tree. Young man grasped the trunk of a tree and tried to pull it out, but it wouldn't budge. "It's impossible," said a young man, panting. At this, Saint smiled and said, "So it is with bad habits. When they are young, it is easy to pull them out, but when they take a hold, they cannot be uprooted." That session with the saint changed the young man's life forever. Lesson of the story is, don't wait for bad habit to grow in you. Drop them while you have control over them.
One day, a little boy asked his father, "What does word great means?" Boy said, "I have read many times that this person is great. He did this and that. Please explain me who are these great people and how they become great." Father said, "Okay." Father thought of an idea to teach his son about being great. Father asked his son to bring 2 plants and then told him to plant one of them inside house and other outside house. Boy did as his father said. Now, father called his son and asked, "What do you think? Which one of these 2 plants will be bigger and safe?" Boy replied, "Papa, plant which is inside our house will be safe,
Therefore, it will grow big, whereas plant outside house is not safe at all. It will have to withstand many seasons and no one will be there to take care of it. It can be eaten by animals. Father smiled and said, "We will know this at right time, and at same that time, I will give you answer for your question." Boy left for higher studies, and after 4 years he came back to his house. When he saw that plant which he had planted there before leaving, he said to his father, "See, I told you that nothing will happen to this plant, and it will be safe and grow big." Father smiled and said, "You should go outside and see another plant." When Boy went outside, he saw a big tree. Boy couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't understand how plant outside was able to grow much bigger than plant inside house. Then Father explained to his son that plant outside was able to grow this big because it faced every season and many difficulties. Because plant inside was safe, it didn't face any weather. Not did it get proper sunlight, therefore it didn't become big. Here is answer to your question about being great. To become a great person, one fails many times, had to face many difficulties, and overcome those difficulties with their willpower and determination. Only after that, they were able to become great. If you don't give up on your work, even after you fail, then remember that no one can stop you from becoming great. One should always tell to himself that, even if I face many difficulties, even if I get discouraged again and again, I will not stop until I reach my destination. Once in a kingdom, there was a priest who was famous for his intelligence and wisdom. One day, King invited priest to his court. When priest reached King's court, they had deep discussions on many subjects. When he was about to leave, King said, "If you allow, I want to ask you one thing." Priest replied, "Sure." King said, "You are so intelligent, then why is your son so stupid?" Hearing this, priest felt bad and asked, "Why are you saying this?" King replied, "Because your son doesn't know what is more valuable among gold and silver." Hearing this, all courtiers started laughing. Seeing this, priest felt humiliated, but returned to his home without saying anything. On reaching home, his son bought water for him, but priest refused to take water and said, "Son, I will take water only when you answer my question." Son replied, "Ask me anything." Priest asked, "Tell me, what is more valuable between gold and silver?" Son answered, "Gold is more valuable." After hearing his son answer, priest asked, "You gave correct answer. Then why does king call you a fool and says you don't know value of gold or silver?" Listening to his, son understood whole matter. He told his father, "Father, sometimes kings spend time with some of his courtiers outside palace. They make arrangement to sit on the side of road by which I go to school every morning. There are knowledgeable and intelligent people sit and discuss various topics. Seeing me going from there, one day king called me and keeping a gold coin in one hand and a silver coin in one hand, and he said, 'Pick up that one which is valuable to you, and you can keep that coin.' I picked up silver coin. Now every time king saw me pass by, he would call me ask same question. Every time I would pick silver coin. Seeing this, they ridicule me and laugh at me, and I quietly leave from there." Hearing this, priest said, "Son, when you know that gold is more valuable, then why do you prove yourself to be fool in their eyes? Today I had to feel humiliated because of this." Son laughed and said, "Father, come inside me. I will tell you the reason." He took his father to the inner room, and there was a box kept at one corner. He opened that box and showed it to him. Priest was surprised to see that it was filled with silver coins. Priest asked, "Son, where did all this came from?" Son replied, "Father, it has become a game for king to stop me and ask that question with gold and silver coins in his hands. Whenever they play this game with me, I choose a silver coin and get to bring it with me at home. This box is filled with the same silver coins. Day I pick up gold coin, on that day this game will end. That's why I never pick up gold coin." priest understood, but he wanted others to know that his son is not stupid. Next day, he went to King's court with his son and told him everything. After knowing whole thing, King was happy to know about Kid's cleverness. He ordered a box full of gold coins and gave them to priest's son and said, "You are real scholar. Never show off your potential. When time comes, whole world will know how powerful you are. On that day you will shine, and whole world will respect you." Once in a city lived a very successful businessman. His only son, who was still a young boy, was lazy and fun-loving. His son used to spend money with free hands and never even did any help in any work at home. Businessmen wanted his son to learn about the value of labor. So one day he called his son and said, "From today onward you will be given meals at night only if you will bring some earnings for that day." First boy was confused, but when he saw his father's serious face, he knew how serious he was about what he said. Boy got scared and went to his mother. Boy told everything about this to his mother. Mother didn't want her boy to get troubled or skip his night meal. So that day she gave him a gold coin. At night on the dinner table, when father asked son about his earning for the day, boy promptly presented him that gold coin. Seeing that gold coin, father understood that he didn't earn that money. He asked boy to throw that coin into the well in the courtyard. Without any hesitation, boy went out and threw that coin into well, and then had his meal. Next day, early in morning, father sent his wife out of town to her parents' house. When boy woke up, father reminded boy about condition for night meal, and also told him about mother's trip to her parents' house. Knowing that mother is not there to give him money, he went to his grandfather. Grandfather gave him some coins. At night, father asked him about money. Boy gave him coins. He again asked him to throw those coins into well. Again, without hesitating, boy threw those coins into well and came back to dinner table for meal. Father knew that there was no one else who could give him money. So before going to bed, he went to grandfather and told him about condition. Grandfather understood, and next day went out so that boy don't come to him for money. In morning, father again reminded him about condition for meal. Boy went looking for his grandfather but couldn't find him. This time, since there was no one to help him, boy was forced to go to market in search of work. After much time, one shopkeeper agreed to give him some work. Shopkeeper told him that he would pay him 10 Rs if he carried his trunk for him to his home. Boy couldn't refuse, and was drenched in sweat by the time he finished the job. His feet were trembling, and his neck and back were aching. In evening, when he returned home, he went to his father and gave him those 10 Rs. Even this time, father asked him to throw it in the well. Boy could not imagine throwing his hard-earned money like this. So boy refused to throw this money and almost cried. Son sobbingly said to his father, "Father, my entire body is aching. My back has rashes, and you are asking me to throw the money into the well." Father smiled and said, "One feels the pain only when the fruits of hard labor are wasted. Earlier you got coins without any hard work from your mother and grandfather, so you had no pain in throwing coins into the well." Son now realized the value of hard work and labor. He understood his mistake and thanked his father for the valuable lesson. Sometimes life's best lessons come from the hardest situations. Giving a car key to his son, father said, "Son, you have completed your graduation with very good marks. Here is my gift for your graduation. Your grandfather gave me this car as my graduation gift. Now I want you to keep it." Son said, "But it's old." Father said to his son, "Son, I know it's old, but before you decide anything about this car, I want you to take this car to junkyard and tell its owner that you want to sell it and see how much he is willing to pay for it." Son went to the junkyard and after a while returned to father and said, "He said he will pay only 90 for it as it is old." Father said, Now go and show this car to a nearby garage owner and ask him what he is willing to pay for it." Son went, and after some time he returned to his father and said he offered $500 for this car. Father said, "Now, go to a vintage car collector and ask him what he thinks its value is." Son came back and said to his father excitedly, "Car collector offered me $7,000 for this car." Father smiled and said, "Understood something?" Son looked at his father with a confused look. Father said, "I want you to understand that right place values you the right way. If you are not getting respect in an establishment, don't get angry because it means you are not in the right place, because the right people will always know your worth and will appreciate you. Therefore, never stay at a place that doesn't value you." Lesson of the story is only right person will know your right worth. A jeweler passed away, leaving his family in a financial crisis. They barely had enough money to buy food. One day, his wife took a sapphire necklace from the safe and told her son, "Take this necklace to your uncle's shop and ask him to give you some money for it." The boy went to his uncle with the necklace and handed it to him. The uncle examined the necklace carefully and said, "Go back to your mother and tell her that the market is not good right now. She can sell it later when the price is higher." He gave the boy some money and asked him to come the next day and learn how to work with him. He said that he could earn some money to support his family. The boy agreed and started to visit his uncle's shop every day. He learned how to inspect jewels and precious stones. After some time, he became very skilled at it, and people from far away came to him to get their jewels valued. One day, his uncle told him, "Go to your mother and tell her that the market is good now and she can sell the necklace for a good price." The boy went home and asked his mother for the sapphire necklace. When he looked at it, he realized that it was fake. The next day, he did not bring the necklace to his uncle's shop. When he got there, his uncle asked him about it. The boy said, "I did not bring the necklace because when I checked it, I found out that it was fake and worthless." He asked his uncle, "Why did you tell me to keep it and sell it later when you knew it was fake?" The uncle replied, "When you first brought the necklace to me, you were poor and desperate. If I had told you then that it was fake, you would have thought that I was lying. You would have thought that I was trying to cheat you by calling a real necklace fake. But now that you have knowledge about jewels, you know that it is fake." Lesson of the story. The lesson of the story is that knowledge can help us avoid being deceived or misled by others. It can also help us maintain good relationships with our family and friends by preventing misunderstandings and conflicts. Knowledge is a valuable asset that we should seek and share. Without knowledge, we can misunderstand and damage our relationships. Therefore, we should think wisely.
Once there was a boy named Arav. His father used to run an iron shop where he used to help his father with his work. One day he asked his father, "What is the value of a human in this world?" Father was surprised by this question. Father thought for a while and said, "Son, it is very difficult to judge the value of any human being because his value is priceless." Son couldn't understand and asked, "How is that? If the price of all human beings is priceless, then why is it that some get less respect and some more?" His father bought a piece of iron bar lying in the storeroom and then asked, "What will be the cost of this piece of iron?" Son replied, $5. Father asked, "If I make small nails out of this piece, then what will be its cost?" Son thought for a while and then said, "Doing this will increase its price and it will be sold at $12. Now Father asked, "What if I use it to make a lot of springs for a watch? Then what will be its price?" Son replied, "Then we can get more money from this." Father smiled and said, "Value of a man is just like this piece of iron bar. Value of man is not in what he is now, but in what he can make of himself." Son now understood what his father wanted to say. Learning. We also make mistakes many times in estimating our worth. Seeing our present status, we start considering ourselves as valueless and meaningless. We do not think about what we can make of ourselves in future, and we judge our worth by what we are now. Therefore, we should always keep improving ourselves and keep moving forward to learn our right value.
Once there was a wise king. He had 2 sons. He delegated prominent researchers to teach them all arts. After a couple of years, the king became severely sick, so he wanted to choose the next king for his realm. He wanted to test his sons' capacities. He called the both of them and gave them a room. He said, "You must fill your room completely with anything you wish. It can be anything. In any case, there ought not to be any space left, and you shouldn't look for advice from each other." The next day, the ruler visited the eldest son's room. The room was completely filled with food. The ruler sighed at the foolishness of the senior son. Then he went to the room of his youngest son. In any case, it was kept shut. The king knocked at the door. The younger son asked his father to get in and shut the door. There was darkness all over, and the king yelled at his son angrily. However, the youngest son lit a candle and said, "I have filled this room with light." Now the king felt exceptionally happy and hugged his son gladly. He understood that the youngest son would be the ideal person to rule the realm. The story teaches us that being a good leader means thinking creatively and understanding things deeply. The eldest son just filled the room with food, showing he didn't think beyond the obvious. But the youngest son used a candle to fill the room with light, which was clever and showed wisdom. It's a lesson that leaders should be smart, think differently, and guide others with wisdom and vision.
Long time ago, there was a kingdom in the far south. Its king had 3 sons. One day he thought that his sons should be given some education to prepare them for the time they take the reins. With this thought, King called his 3 sons to the court and said, "There is a pear tree outside our kingdom. I want you all to go in search of this tree in an interval of 4 months and find out how that tree is." After receiving the king's orders, each son went in search of that tree at their decided time. After all of them returned, King again called everyone to the court and asked them, "Tell all about that tree." First son said, "Father, that tree was crooked and dry. It looked lifeless." No, it was not lifeless but full of leaves, yet there was not a single fruit on that tree. Second son said, stopping the first one in the middle. Just then the third son said, "Brother, you seem to have seen the wrong tree because I saw a pear tree, and it was very magnificent, and was laden with fruits." 3 sons started arguing with each other about what they saw. Just then, the king got up from his throne and said, "Sons, you don't need to argue among yourselves. In fact, all 3 of you are correctly describing that tree. I deliberately sent you to search for the tree in different seasons, and what you saw was according to that season. On basis of this experience, I want you to learn. First, if you want correct and complete information about something, then you should check it for a long time, whether it is an object or a person. Second, just as the tree is dry, green, or laden with the fruits because of different seasons, similarly, there are ups and downs in the life of human beings. If you are ever going through a bad phase, keep up your courage and patience because time changes. And lastly, do not stick to your words as if it's the only right thing. Open your mind, and also listen and know thoughts of others. World is full of knowledge. Even if you try, you cannot earn all the knowledge by yourself alone. Therefore, do not hesitate to seek advice from wise people in a state of confusion.
Thank you for watching our video. If you have liked the story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.